Let's relax a little bit, guys. The Note 5 and the S6 Edge had an interesting journey. We heard rumors about it being released earlier because of the iPhone. And then there was a big announcement in New York about it. Now, I happened to go to the announcement in New York, and there was a lot of speculation going on, just like with any Samsung device. And I actually purchased the S6 Edge Plus myself, and I've been using the Note 5 for a couple weeks now. So I think it's finally time to do my review. And this is my review of the Note 5 and Galaxy S6 Edge. I remember when my friend Steve brought home an HTC Evo, and I remember telling him that phones would never be this size. That phone is way too large. Boy, was I wrong. Phones are now approaching 6 inches, and some are even larger than that. Well, the Galaxy Note is Samsung's series. The Galaxy Note is one of those phones that's very large, and it's pushing the envelopes on how we use phones today. The Note has been around for several years, and Samsung actually for the first time ever brought another phone alongside the Note. This is the Samsung Galaxy S6 Edge Plus. Now, the Samsung Galaxy S6 Edge was Samsung's newest phone that came out this summer, but the Edge Plus provides you with actually not a whole lot more, just a bigger screen and somewhat bigger battery life. Let's figure out these two phones that Samsung just announced a few weeks ago. Let's start with the Note. Now, what I'm going to tell you about the Note, if you haven't had one in your hand yet, you probably won't fully understand. But it's probably one of the best feeling large phones that you can put in your hand. Although the screen is flat, the back is pretty much curved, and what that does is that it pushes itself into your hand, and it makes it easier to grip, and it contours to the hand as well. The screen is 5.7 inches, but the device overall feels svelte. Comparing it to a phone like the OnePlus 2, which has a 5.5 inch screen, it feels pretty much the same. You know, I'm not big into throwing numbers at you, but it is a Quad HD display. And without really laying eyes on it and obviously watching through this video, I can't begin to tell you how good it actually looks. Now, everything in the screen really pops out at you. Text pops, videos pop, anything you do pops. Now, for some people, they may say it's a bit oversaturated, and I'm one of those guys in that category. But what else I can tell you is that you can go into the settings and adjust the color temperature of the screen. So you can actually tone down the screen, but the way it is, a bit saturated, it makes everything pop out just a bit more. Now, comparing the screen to a screen that may not have the Quad HD, you're not gonna see a huge difference, but once you put on a video that's 2K, then you can really see the difference. I mean, it jumps out at you. And that resolution is being pushed out to you, and it is very intense, I will say that. The device is sexy overall. It's really a large S6. So you have the same volume rockers and power buttons on the same locations. Also, you have that 5 megapixel front facing shooter, and also you have a 16 megapixel camera on the back, and that heart rate sensor is there too. Just like the S6, you can expect the same things on the body in the same locations. But this wouldn't be a Note without the S Pen, right? The S Pen is basically a stylus, but by me just calling it a stylus, I'm not doing it any justice. First, to remove it, you just click it out and it just slightly ejects. Then you continue to pull it out with your fingernails. And you can also continue to click this thing after it comes out. I know it's weird to mention this, but I find myself doing it. It's pretty addicting. It's one of those OCD things that when you're thinking about something, you keep clicking this. It has no other function but that and ejecting it out of the phone, but I just like doing it. Now, one thing that sadly I have to note about the Note is that if you put the S Pen in backwards, what happened is that it actually gets stuck, and it's a big controversy online right now about it. I made a funny video to kind of summarize what's going on and my thoughts on it. So you can actually click on the card or hit down below and check out the links where I actually talk about the whole S Pen Benghazi and S Pen Gate situation that's going on. Now, if you used the Note before, then you know the S Pen applications and how they work. But once you pull the pen out, you'll get a list of applications that pops out on the side, and then from there you just select it with the S Pen. You can also add applications on there as well, but they may not support the S Pen entirely. With the S Pen, you can mark up documents, freehand draw. You can write stuff down. You can let it attempt to transcribe things that you're writing. A lot of other things that I wouldn't really bore you with. The feature that I like the most is that you can write on the screen while it's off. I found myself using that feature more than I thought I would. I was able to grab that girl's number like Big Homie Joe would. That's some innovation right there, and it's one of those tools that I can use daily. When writing on the S Pen, it allows you to apply different thickness levels when writing. So if you write really light, it will show up light, or if you press down a little bit, it makes the line thicker. There's also different types of pens and pencils and opacities and colors you can select, and you can really do some things. I know my boy God's Will son, he's gonna use one of these and make some beautiful art. He actually draws things with his Note 3, so if he picks up the Note 5, he shouldn't have any issues continuing to do that. Another cool thing that I like, and it shows how remedial I am, but actually when you write, it makes sort of a writing sound. And it's just one of those cool perks when you're writing stuff down, you can sort of hear as you write. I know it's silly, but I like it. Let's talk about the S6 Edge Plus. The aesthetics is pretty much the same, but you guessed it, the edges are curved. Remember, the Note had a curve on the back, and well, now those curves on the front. So what's the point? The curve looks really, really good, and there's a few features that taps into the edge. There's People Edge and Apps Edge. What the People Edge and the App Edge is basically you swipe from the edge of your screen, and when you swipe from the edge of the screen, that brings up a list of applications or a list of contacts. And that's pretty much it. Now you can't customize the contact list too much, so if you click on a person and select message, it's gonna send them an SMS message and not a Hangout or a WhatsApp. If you click call, it's gonna call them on your default phone. So if you have Skype or a different way of calling people, that's not gonna work. It's really limited and you're pretty much locked down to the way they define that you use it. Also applications you can add, you just put the application there and that's pretty much it. There's a few more things like tickers where you can have breaking news and things like that pop up when your screen is turned off. But overall, the functionality isn't that great. And the reason I got it is because I just like how it looks. I mean, text falls off the screen. You have videos, you have images that falls off. It's like a waterfall effect. And I like how it looks. And I just like the overall styling that the Edge provides. It's not for everyone, I get it, but I wouldn't see myself using the Note features, so I went with the S6 Edge Plus. Now both phones are super slippery and a case is required or a skin. And obviously watching this video, you know that I'm putting a skin on these phones, and the skin that I went with is the Slick Wrap. Now Slick Wrap has several skins that you can cover your device, and I have a few different ones here. I'm going with the red leather on the Note and also the black leather on one of the edges. On my personal Edge Plus, I'm actually rocking the wood on the back, and then on the front, I'm rocking it completely bare. I think this combination is killer. Now as far as specs, the Note is rocking the Exynos 7420 series chip, which is a power-hungry chip, but it's wickedly fast. And it's a true screamer of a chip, and we all know that. Performance isn't an issue when it comes to Samsung as of late, but it's the battery life, and more on that soon. You can also find 4 GB of RAM, which should help with the RAM issues we found on the S6. On my daily usage with the Note 5 S6 Edge Plus, I've had no RAM issues, and the device multitasked like a dream. Bouncing between applications had no issues, and there was no shutter or even lag. I even went between games to see how fast it will handle that. This device didn't even blink, and speaking of gaming, outside of Shield, there isn't a better Android device that is touching this. Every game I tossed at it, it ran as fast as it could for Android games, and it was really good. I played Mortal Kombat, I played Grand Theft Auto, all those games ran like a dream, and I'm really impressed with the performance of the Note 5 and Galaxy S6 Edge. Now when I ask people what's the most important feature of a phone, a lot of people now are starting to say camera. The point-and-shoot camera is becoming extinct and cell phones are taking over. The camera that these two devices are rocking are 16 megapixels, and this is using the newer ISO technology, whatever that means. It also provides rich colors, fast autofocus, and a speedy shutter. I've taken some pretty amazing photos with this camera. I even compared the image quality to my DSLR, which is the GH4, and also my Sony RX100 Mark IV. In some images, in some situations, it looks pretty much the same. At times in low light, the images can be sort of yellow, so it doesn't seem like the white balance in low light is perfect, but most phones will give you a blurry mess, and this camera at least gives you a sharp photo, just a little yellow. The camera suite also gives you tons of shooting modes. A lot of the modes can be a bit gimmicky, but overall it gives you options which I like. The camera also shoots in 4K and 30 frames per second, which is amazing, and the footage looks really, really good. I even shot the OnePlus 2 review with the Galaxy Note 5 and Edge 6 Plus, and that review came out really good. I'm also going to link that down below and also use the little card right here and click on it. There's also a new feature that Samsung announced. It's called live broadcast. It's live streaming via YouTube from your device. And a lot of people are dubbing it the Periscope killer. Well, I gave it a shot and I tried it out, and there's a lot of potential there. It doesn't lag that much and the video looks really good even over 4G and my Wi-Fi, but I can't read comments and I can't reply back to people and I can't change the name of the posting too. So it's in its infant stages and I hope it gets a lot of updates, but so far it's pretty cool. The earpiece on the device is loud and it's super crisp, and also the speakers. Although it's one speaker on the very bottom, this thing kicks out a ton of volume. It's loud, it's clean, and it sounds really, really good. But it's in that one spot, and a lot of times when you're gaming or doing anything on your device, watching YouTube, your hand covers it up. And it's very frustrating that they put these beautiful speakers in the same spot where your hand naturally rests. I really wish Samsung would adopt the front-facing speakers. Now, one thing that I was worried about with these devices is the battery life. You have a 3000 milliamp battery, which isn't that much compared to what we're seeing with other phones this size, but I'm actually impressed with the battery life. A lot of people online are getting like 5.5 hours of screen on time and things like that. I'm not getting those crazy numbers, but what I am getting is a phone that lasts throughout the day and then more. We also have quick charge, which allows me to charge my phone back up to about 50% in about 45 minutes or 30 minutes, just depends. And also we have wireless charging as well. So wherever I go, I have a charger, and I'm happy about that. Also, Samsung announced the quick wireless charger, which I don't actually have yet, it's not out yet, but that's gonna get you full charge in about an hour and a half, from 0 all the way to 100. So Samsung is doing a lot on the battery front, and I'm very, very impressed with this battery life. I'm actually shocked. I was actually one of the people that was a little worried about this device because of battery life. So if you're worried about battery, don't worry about it. This device will give you good battery life no matter what you throw at it. Now, Samsung Pay is still in beta, and I haven't had a chance to fully use it yet since my cards are not supported, but I will provide a video for Samsung Pay as soon as it's available for me to use. Admittingly, reviews are just one man's opinion, so I actually brought one of my friends, BHJ, you guys know him as Big Homie Joe, and I asked him some questions about this device, and these are his responses. And the only thing I'm editing from his responses is just the length that he was talking, because he can talk all day. So here's what he feels about the Galaxy S6 Edge after owning it for about a week. All right, Joe, you actually bought the S6 Edge Plus yourself.
Yes, sir.
So I think it'd be appropriate for you to give like a mini review of like what you think about it. So number one, why did you go out and buy one? You had a Nexus 6 already. So what made you go out and buy a new phone?
Well, as you're aware, I was having issues with my battery life. I drive trucks, so I'm on the road all the time. Battery life is important to me.
So has the battery life lived up to the expectations of what I previously hyped for you?
Well, currently it is 6:40 in the afternoon. I've been up since 10 o'clock last night. I went on a route, I used Google Maps, I texted people, I called people, and right now my phone is at 38%, which is pretty good. My Nexus, I would have had to plug it in 3 or 4 different times by now. So
okay, now what about the Edge that made you, like, why'd you go to the Edge versus going to the actual like Note? Because they're pretty much the same phone, but what made you decide to go elsewhere?
Well, I didn't want to go with the Note because I never used the pen. I had a Note 3, I believe it was, and I used the pen one time to get a phone number, but unfortunately I'm engaged now, so I'm not pulling any numbers, even though it was pretty cool.
Unfortunately, I'm engaged now?
Well, fortunately I'm engaged, but unfortunately I can't use the pen.
Yeah, boy.
So, you know, I went with the Edge, and it took a while for me to get used to using the Edge, you know, lining my apps up, and there's a couple things that I don't like about the Edge. But all in all, it's a cool feature.
As BHJ said, the Edge is a killer phone, and this applies to the Note 2. You just need to figure out which one is best to you. Regardless, the king of Android is back, and it's going to be an interesting fall with the iPhone 6s Plus and also new Nexus devices coming out this year. It's an exciting time to be in the Android world. As I always say in my videos, hang on to your butts. As always, guys, my name is Kevin, the Tech Ninja. If you like this video, make sure you subscribe to my channel for more great videos and giveaways. I'll at you guys later. Scope Squad, what up?